Hello my guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. So in this video, I'm going to be making drawings out of emojis. And unlike a couple weeks ago, where I use prompts of emojis to make drawings, I'm going to be actually using emojis to build a drawing. If it doesn't make sense right now, it'll become clear in a bit. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that notification bell. My upload schedule's been a bit sporadic recently because I am a busy boy. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you can get notified whenever I upload. And on with the video. So for this first one, I want to have it easier on myself. I want to do a lot of straight up just actual finished emojis to build the drawing instead of putting together a bunch of emojis to like build one thing. So I searched for existing full body emoji characters first, and I found this girl who's like running, and then I was searching in animals and I found a tiger. So I'm like, okay, what if she's running away from the tiger? And then, source scene started building. I could use those water droplets to make her sweat, and I could build like a forest behind her. Easier said than done. Now I have to figure out how to build a forest out of emojis. So first I made like a dirt path with these brown squares, and one of the squares is slightly higher than the rest of them, which is really annoying, but we're gonna pretend it's not like that. Also, it's a little weird how it's built because all the squares are like, they have gradients in them for like where a light source would be. So they're like individual tiles that are shaded and whatnot. So it looks a little weird and definitely not natural, but it's fine. It's good enough. Then I was planning to put a ton of foliage over it. So first I took some sprouts and then I put a couple down and it wasn't enough. And then I put a couple more and it also wasn't enough. So I kept putting a ton until it was like, I realized that it would take so many sprouts to be placed for this to look good. And it's really annoying. I gotta like copy and paste the sprout each time. So I just called it good enough there and kept adding stuff. So then I used the tops of trees to be like foliage in the background because I wanted it to look very wooded and like a forest. So I made like a whole wall of these bushes. So I made one row and then I made a different like row pattern with some more variation to try and spice things up. And I thought I alternated which one I would copy and paste going up the wall, but I ended up just copy and pasting that second layer I had built the whole time. So I don't know what all that variation was for because I just didn't use it besides that first row. Then I also added some like falling leaves to try and add a bit more foliage and a bit more interest. And that was pretty much all that I could think of to add to this. I scrolled through the emojis for a bit, trying to find anything else that could work. And this was really where I left off. And so it's not good, but I will say there is a clear story here. And the picture is very clear, and we'll take that. So, the next one. So I want this to be a bit more built like a Frankenstein of emojis than the last one. The last one had a lot of individual complete assets. Well, this one I want to like build assets with other assets, if that makes sense. It'll become clear in a second. So like, actually building a person out of emoji outfits and emoji limbs. But first I had to start with the background, and this I did not build up like the last one because that was horrible. I found a painting that had this nice background, so I just enlarged that and put that in the background. It was a square, so there is like these sidebars on the drawing. Then I also added a house to it, to add a bit more interest in the background. Now it's time for the person, and this was like the main thing of this drawing, figuring out how to construct this person. So to start off with, there weren't really many good pan options, so the choice to use a dress was just made for me pretty much. And then I added in a very basic human face. I wanted to use like classic yellow emojis for this, because I feel like that radiates more emoji energy. I don't know, I always like the yellow emojis. They're like the basic ones, and so I felt like this video would be better if I used... So I feel like the gimmick is better applied through the yellow emojis. The head of this person is off center though, and I never fix it. Also, there's no neck on this emoji, so we're gonna have to address that later. So then I start adding in the arms, and once again, the choice was just kind of made for me that this character would be buff, because that's the only real arms there are besides some prosthetic ones, which I guess I could have used. Then I found the nose emoji, which I thought would work well for a neck. And then I erased the like excess bits coming out of her dress. So, okay, there are some problems with how I built this person though. That's mainly that there was a lot of parts of the emojis that I should have erased or better overlapped. For instance, like there's a bit of hair that's in front of the neck that should be behind it. And with the arms and the dress, they're like the back straps of the dress that are on top of the arms, when really they shouldn't be. But then I add in the legs, and they're really weirdly positioned, and I don't know if like no shoes were in this kind of side view that we have the feet at, but I didn't add shoes, and that was it. I didn't really like making this one, and I don't like how it looks. It's the worst one in this video, by a lot, and I'm never doing that again. This is my new sleep paralysis demon. So it's very clear that the only way to make this better is to go deeper into this concept of like more Frankenstein-y emoji drawings. So I wanted this one to, rather than the last one though, where it was clearly emojis put together to build something, I wanted this one not to look like emojis. And it kind of was like trying to draw with Google Slides or PowerPoint, where there are like these preset shapes that you have and that's all you have to work with. Because in order for this one to work, I mainly just used like circle, triangle, square emojis. But I sketched this one out, and the sketch was really cute. It was of a cat. It's not gonna stay cute. And since there's not many colors, the color palette was just decided to be the black, the white, and the red shapes, because consistently throughout the shapes, there were all three of those colors. So since I like more simplified color palettes, that's the best way I can execute it. So there's a very red nose, but it's the best I have. Oh, I guess there's also some gray too, like for the lines there in the mouth. I probably could have used this squiggle emoji for the mouth, but I guess the circle head is going to be black, so it probably would have blended in. So the gray works out in the end anyway. Plus, I think this one worked better with the sketch where it had that kind of X shape rather than the like :3 cat face. Also, have you noticed, you can see it really clearly with the like mouth there, but a lot of these emojis have like white outlines, and it's not all of them. So I don't know if it's Apple's fault or Ibis Paint's fault, because Ibis Paint would be weirdly inconsistent with it then, and I don't know why it would be like that. But Apple, I feel like they're like $1 billion industry. They shouldn't have white pixel borders on some of their emojis because people were too lazy to properly like remove a background or something. I'm gonna choose to believe it's Ibis because if it's Apple and that level of care is being taken, I just don't want to think about it. So I added the ears with squares and just put them behind the circle head so it would make them look triangular. And I realized that the circle wasn't like in the center of the canvas, but the other assets so far were like perfectly symmetrical on opposite sides of the canvas. So I adjusted it so that when I copy and paste different elements, I just have to copy, paste, and flip rather than copy, paste, flip, and then adjust to make them look symmetrical, and they'd never really be symmetrical. The ear insides were red again for the same reason as the nose, because that's really the only options I had. Then I pulled out the equal sign emoji, stretched it out, and used that as whiskers. Then I got white circles and squished them into ovals for the eyebrows. I don't know why I put the eyebrows on before doing the eyes, but we're not going to question it. And then I made the eyes red because, once again, only other color, want to stay consistent with it. Then I put a blue square as the background because I hadn't used that color, so everything would contrast okay with it. You know, if I had my choice, I wouldn't be using bright blue in the background, but oh well. I guess if I ever want to try this again, I could like use a filter to color shift things. Then I felt like it's missing something, so I took more white circles and used them as eye shines. And this whole drawing kind of has the same problem as that dirt path I made, where all the individual shapes are like shaded, so everything looks really disjointed. Also, a lot of these emojis are really blown up, so they're super pixely. But I like this better than the last one. It's fine. I mean, like, it's not a great work of art, but for what I had, I'll take it. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, because I know I did, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, if you want me to, like, try to do a video like this in the future, but rather than just do what I did in this video, like, try really hard to make a good drawing and use emojis almost like pixels in a pixel art, then let me know. Comment down below, because I'd want to try to do something really over the top with the emojis, where you look at it and you don't even realize it's emojis and think it's just a normal work of art. Also, make sure you follow all my social media in the description below, and I will see you all next video.